What's going down? Basement Boy Banter, Thor, back in the house. Wrestling in the Basement's the show. Joined with Kyle, Knocked Out Entertainment.
Yep.
That's right.
I'm back because we had a stacked couple months.
It's been like a month. It's been like a month and a half maybe since we did a video.
Been so many shows.
It seems like it's been 6 months with how much wrestling there's been.
Yeah, because WWE's doing a show every 3 weeks, or it was 2 weeks. Because we did it right before
we did it after
the show
Money
from
in the
Redacted.
Bank. Yep. We did it right before Super Showdown.
Yep. So we've missed 2 WWE shows.
One really.
One real show.
One that we're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
And then we missed about 17 New Japan shows at least. Since then, and then a couple, and then one AEW show. And that's where we're gonna begin. Yep. We're gonna begin with Fyter Fest, and we're gonna go back all the way to the finale of Best of Super Junior. So if you haven't really caught up on wrestling in the last month and a half, join us and enjoy. So Fyter Fest happened Saturday night, just a couple days ago.
Yep,
from when we're taping. I watched it live. You were at a different event.
I was at the Lonely Island concert,
repping the shirt.
It was the end of their first tour. It was actually really a lot of fun. There were a bunch of people, because the night before was the WrestlePalooza 15 show, and I swear probably 3/4 of the crowd was at the Lonely Island concert.
Yeah.
It was like, there's Bryce Remsburg t-shirt.
Because First Wrestling did WrestlePalooza
at First Avenue.
First Avenue, yeah. Their biggest that's their big show of the year, right?
Yeah, it's one of the 2 big shows. They do it twice a year.
A year, yep.
And it was like so many people that I saw the night before. It's like, oh, you're here. Oh, you're here. Okay. Oh, okay.
So then Sunday, you finally got a chance to watch Fyter Fest.
Yep, I had a lazy Sunday.
Yeah, kind of digested it a little bit now. We've had a couple days. We're not going to go match by match because honestly, I don't think this pay-per-view, I wouldn't even call this show requires a match by match breakdown. The pre-show, I will say, had one great match and 2 meh matches.
Yeah. I'm guessing it was in that order as well.
It was actually in that order. Yeah, the first match, the 6-man. No, it wasn't a 6-man. It was a triple tag.
Yep, triple threat tag team. Yeah, Private Party versus SCU of Kaz and Scorpio Sky versus Best Friends Chucky T and Trent. Question mark.
They'll be here. They'll be here soon, right?
Yeah, they're gonna be in here in August.
What up?
Which is gonna be great.
So that was a good match. I've heard some people say that was their favorite match of the night, actually.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was my first time really seeing Private Party, and they really impressed.
They're really trying to focus they really tried to highlight Private Party in that match, I thought. And I thought they did a good job of it.
And it makes sense because SCU and the Best Friends are so well established that get some shine on these new guys. Yeah. And Best Friends are gonna be at All Out because of course they are. It was such a weird stipulation. The winner of this match qualified to be at All Out to
in a number 1 contenders match.
No, to qualify to get a bye in the tournament
for the
tag belts. Excuse me.
If you followed all that, good on you.
Yeah,
good on you. So that was the first match. That was good. Then we had the Nakazawa CEO match.
Well, we had Leva Bates and Allie.
Oh, that was second. That was second. That librarian thing doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. It doesn't work for me.
Leva is an incredibly fun performer. I don't know if it's the right role for her, doing this. Well,
apparently this gimmick was something that was pitched by Tony Khan.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to be a commentary on wrestling executives, shushing the talent and the crowd and stuff like that. It doesn't work for me. That's all I'm gonna say.
It doesn't work for me, and especially knowing Leva and her personality, because I've met her at a couple shows. She's actually a huge gamer.
Okay.
And the fact that she was at a video game fighting tournament, which I think she might have actually been participating in.
Yeah.
And has to do this librarian gimmick.
Well, they come on there. You read comic books, but there's books with actual pictures, and I'm just like, oof, this is rough. This is rough stuff right here.
Yeah, it's no, I've literally seen you.
I'd never seen Allie wrestle before though. I was She did a good job. I thought she did a good job.
She did a good job, and it's smart. Because I think it was supposed to originally be Kylie Ray versus Leva Bates.
Did anybody ever find out why all of a sudden it got changed?
I honestly think they realized, like, wait, Allie is facing Brandy at the next show. We need
Fight for the Fallen?
Yeah, Fight for the Fallen. We need to establish her first.
Establish her as a real threat.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But that match, and then there was the Nakazawa CEO match. The pool spot was cool. It was a comedy match. And honestly, if you would have put that on first and then that triple tag on right before, if this was somewhere people had to pay for it, you're losing people on that comedy match at the end. I'm just saying.
It was kind of the same thing with the buy-in from Double or Nothing. The fact that I think it would have been more beneficial if you would have flipped everything.
Flipped the way it was, yeah.
And it's like, because, starting out with some comedy, that's fine. But it's like, if like you said, if you have these people tuning in, it would have been smarter at Double or Nothing hey, they're tuning in for the Battle Royal. Like, if they tune in late, it's the Battle Royal. And then, Hangman Page wins. Awesome. We're going straight into the show.
Right.
Super exciting. Same thing with the triple threat. Like, if that was the lead in to the show, not, hey, here we're going to start with this, and then we're going to do a half an hour of other stuff.
We almost digressed in quality as we went in on the pre-show buy-in, whatever they call it. Yep. My thing is, I'm the person they need to hook, right? Because I watched Fight for the Fyter Fest because it was free.
Yep.
Will I watch Fight for the Fallen in 2 weeks that I have to pay for? I don't know. I'm still undecided, and really, I don't know. And that's what they need to get, because I have a subscription to WWE Network. I have a subscription to New Japan. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I'm more than a casual, right?
Yep.
But I'm not over the top. You know what I mean? But they need to get my dollar, because if they're getting my dollar, they can't even worry about a casual if they're not getting my dollar.
Yep.
Right? I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah.
So then the show starts. And the opening match was really good. It was Christopher Daniels.
Yeah, Christopher Daniels versus Shima, which I like the fact that JR basically just pitched to Excalibur. It's like, hey, Excalibur,
tell us about these guys.
Tell us about the history of these two. Oh, okay. And then Excalibur did, because Excalibur's great.
It did work really well.
But they have a long history, and I like the fact, and like, curry's a spicy food. Thanks, JR. Because they mentioned Christopher Daniels being Curry Man.
Curry's a spicy food. It's not always spicy. You can get curry in all different heat levels. You get mild, medium. I mean, if you've been to a Thai restaurant, you know. Yeah. Shout out Spice Thai and Savage, my favorite spot. So then after that match, was it the... What was after that match?
Was that the four-way? No, it was the women's match.
The women's match came next. A little sloppy at spots, but a good match.
Yep, good one. Yeah, Yuka Sakazaki, Riho, and Nyla Rose. Rio won?
Yes.
Correct? Yep, Rio won.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a really good match. Showed off Nyla better than the four-way did it.
Well, with Awesome Kong. Well, because Awesome Kong kind of took that, she kind of dulled that shine a little bit.
Yeah.
Similar to what kind of happens in one of the later matches. Then we had the Fatal 4-Way was after the Fatal 4-Way threat. Hangman wins. He has to win. I mean, he's going for the belt.
Yep, he's going. Yep, him and Jericho.
Yeah.
And then they announced that because Kip Sabian, who faced Sammy Guevara, was on commentary. They announced that Kip Sabian would face Hangman at Fight for the Fallen.
Right.
Or he would face the winner of the match.
Right. And but since we already told you it's Hangman, then
it's like he's gonna face Hangman. Okay,
obviously. MJF is great on the mic.
He's so good.
He came out and cut the heelest of heel promos, talking about their basements, talking about your moms, but some hard shots. They were good. It was good. It was some good stuff. And it didn't go on too long. That's what I like about... That's the one thing I'm liking about some of the stuff, the backstage stuff, and how they're trying to tie it into that whole Fyter Fest stuff. That was hit or miss. But a lot of these quick promos that they cut right before the match or after the match in some cases, I think work better than the long drawn out promos that you see in like WWE and stuff like that.
Well,
you know what I mean?
What I was gonna say, when we were back in the Michael Nakazawa versus Jabali match, they cut to a promo from Moxley of basically him saying, "Oh, that was cute. I'm gonna show you guys how to use all those things later."
Right.
Like, because they, had the fun hardcore match, and he's like, no, I'm gonna have the serious.
They're gonna have a hardcore match, and they did. We'll get there. So then after that was we go right into Cody Darby Allin at that point.
Yeah, I think it was a 5-match show.
Yeah, it was Cody Darby.
Yeah, it was Cody and Darby.
Okay, so let's just get this one out of the way because this is probably going to be the longest talked about piece of this match, right? Okay, so the match was phenomenal. My favorite match of the night would have been this match if it wasn't for what happened afterwards. Cody beats Darby up the whole time. Darby just kicks out of everything. He does that fall onto the apron that was just brutal looking.
to which that was the only thing that I was a little disappointed that I was at the Lonely Island concert, because my friend Gabe texted me in the middle. He's like, not to spoil anything, but... And then I see just Darby Allin, and I was like, and then I closed out of the message because I'm like, Darby's going to be crazy. I know Darby's going to be crazy. He's always nuts. I've seen it literally feet from me.
Right.
I've actually seen that coffin drop feet from me, and it's...
Oh, it looks. Yeah. That's why I text you with bananas. I just text you. I literally text him.
Yeah, no.
I knew he was at the show, so I'm watching. I was like, dude, Fyter Fest is bananas. That's all I sent him because that's all I needed to say.
Yeah,
and he'll know.
And it's like, I knew. Yep. I was like, but...
That was a great match. There was great storytelling in that. With the body bag stuff, there was great storytelling.
Yeah, with the body bag, the fact that they use that match to establish something that AEW will probably use a lot later, and that's, the fact that
the
matches can actually go to a time limit. Like, we're not going to sit here and
it's not always going to be a winner, and that's almost the way you can get around 50-50 booking.
Yep.
It's an easy way to get around 50-50 booking. I like that too, because the match ended in a draw. Nobody won. Time expired.
Ended in a draw, which was smart, and it, like you said, it established that Darby was kicking out of everything, and Cody hits the crossroads, is slow to cover him. 1, 2, bell rings for the time limit.
As his hands coming down, the ref's hands coming down, bell rings. It was masterfully done.
Yep.
Masterfully done. So then the match is over, and this is when the stuff I don't like happens. Sean Spears hits the ring with a chair, and you've seen it. If you're watching this video, it's probably in the thumbnail because I haven't done the thumbnail yet, but I'm probably going to put it in there. Sean Spears hits Cody with a chair, unprotected headshots. Number one, irresponsible in 2019. Don't care if the chair was gimmicked. Don't care that it went wrong and the back of the backrest busted his head. I thought he bladed. For about the first 24 hours, I thought Cody bladed. I'm going to be the first to... I was wrong. Yeah. I saw the stills the next day, and you can see clearly where the back of the chair goes into his head.
Yeah, and you can see basically the flap of skin, which was
12 staples.
Disgusting.
12 staples. So what did you think about it? Obviously, I didn't like it.
I didn't like it because I'd seen some tweets before I saw the show of unprotected chair shots to the head shouldn't happen in 2019. And then this always comes up when stuff like this happens. It's it's up to the wrestlers. You should.
It was Cody's idea.
It was Cody's idea and all that. And it's okay, I understand that, but also, kind of be smart about it, especially a little bit of a hand would have actually in this case wouldn't have done much.
No,
because the chair wrapped around so much, and he would have been. He did not have a concussion.
No concussion, just 12 staples. But regardless, it could have been much worse.
It could have been much worse.
And see, here's my biggest problem with it. My biggest problem with it, it dulled Darby's shine.
I was just about to say that.
Sorry,
actually, yeah. It was because we were on the same track. It's but that being said, now we know what Cody's doing for All Out.
Oh, him versus Sean
It's
Spears.
probably gonna be him
and then
versus
Sean
Sean
Spears
Spears.
posted like the thing where Cody called him like a great hand. And then I saw a bunch of people questioning that. Like, you don't watch Game of Thrones? You don't know what a hand is? Like a great second, you know, like you're a great like consigliere.
Well, he meant like that's a wrestling term of like you're a great like bell to bell, like
A great
like, you can
hand.
have a match, you can have a great match with anybody.
Oh, see, I thought I was taking it like Game of Thrones style.
Yeah,
so
I guess
just
you can
learned
take
something.
it that way. But no, like that's like it's a old school like wrestling term. So
You always teach me
yeah,
things.
it's always is like, oh yeah, no, he's a great hand. Like anybody can have a good match with him. It's like, okay.
So that for me took away from what had preceded, and then no one was talking about the Darby Cody match. They were just talking about the chair shot afterwards.
Yep.
And that I think is not fair to Darby. You know, like, and Cody should have known better. And that's when, like, okay, if Cody, the Bucks, and they're all vice presidents, Cody wants to do that, that's great. But that's when the Bucks need to step in, or that's when it is good to have management around and be like, you know what? We don't want to do this, and here's why. You know, because you could have done something different. You know what I mean? You really could have set it up in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Or even like you have that happen, and the first one, it was hilarious to me that like they're working the gimmick of like MJF is Cody's best friend because like the first person to the ring was MJF.
Well, I saw a bunch of tweets. MJF broke kayfabe and ran down there, and I was like, no, he didn't. Like, have you been watching any of the stuff they put up online? Like, it blows my mind the knee jerk reactions people will have without any back information or doing any bit of research whatsoever.
Yeah.
They'll just fire off. And I mean, hey, am I totally clean of doing it? No, I'm probably guilty of doing it myself, but. You know, most of the time, I'm going to do a quick Google search or I'm going to look up something before I'm going to go, like, especially, like, that level. But
yeah. And like, so like, what you could have done to not take the shine away from Darby as much as, like Darby being the first one kind of to Cody's defense. Like, he wouldn't have had to, like, check on him. But, like, him standing up to Sean Spears afterwards.
Or even hitting Sean Spears with something after he hit Cody. Like, Sean Spears hits Cody, then Darby out of nowhere smokes Spears. You know, that's an easy way to make you remember that Darby's there.
Yeah, and it's like Darby didn't need to like go check on Cody or anything because that's not his, you know, character by any means. No. But yeah, it was a really good match.
Like I said, would have been my favorite match on the card had it not been for the after shenanigans. So then comes Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid versus Caillou, Ren, and Kazuma from Tekken. Not Street Fighter. Everyone kept saying Street Fighter. No, two of them are from Street Fighter. One of them's from Tekken. Get it straight. Akuma, yeah, from Tekken.
I thought he was... Oh, is he? I thought he was from Street Fighter.
Maybe he's on both.
I don't play Street Fighter that much.
Maybe he's on both then. But I've always seen him on Tekken. But whatever. I mean, maybe they were all Street Fighter characters. But whatever.
They might have all been.
So Bucks and Omega versus the Lucha... I almost said Lucha House Party.
No,
not Lucha House Party. These guys, much better.
These guys might actually win a match.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, poor Lucha House Party. Yes, the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid versus Bucks and Omega. This was my favorite match of the night.
It was so much fun.
I heard it wasn't as good as the Lucha Bros versus the Bucks at Double or Nothing. That's what I've been told. I still haven't watched Double or Nothing. I'm going to be fairness in conversation, right? Like I still haven't watched it, but I thoroughly enjoyed the wrestling of this match. And that's where I'm at in 2019. I want high quality, safe, ultra competitive storytelling at its finest. Or even the fun stuff, the Hadoukens and stuff like that. That works.
I was watching it.
That works.
So like I said, we watched this after, like the morning after the show. And usually my roommate's favorite like hangover meal is biscuits and gravy. And so he's making that as we like start this match. Because he was like, oh, it won't take me too long to prep. Like we'll you know, and then I'll throw the biscuits in and watch the match. Like I get to the Hadouken spot, and like I just pause it and rewind it. I'm like, you've got to watch this.
Yeah. The Hadouken. One of the Hadoukens was a little sloppy, but the other two were pretty solid. I would have been fine if they would have done like Kamehamehas to it. I mean, either one. I mean that's the comedy stuff that I think works for them.
Yep.
As opposed to the Nakazawa stuff from earlier that didn't work and didn't land. This landed much heavier and was still a great wrestling match on top of that, right?
Yeah, because like they were hitting the super kicks early, and then they go for the Hadouken as a counter to the triple super kick.
Was it Ray Phoenix Jr. who got thrown over
I was
somebody?
Yeah, right after the Hadouken, it's like Pentagon and Matt were like facing off. Matt gets tossed up and over, or goes to the floor, and then Phoenix runs at his brother, and Pentagon just tosses him up and over the ring post.
Yep.
To do a senton to Matt on the outside.
It was brutal looking. But they were that was such a good match. That's why that to me should have been the finale. And we'll get into that here in a second when we talk about what the actual finale was.
The setup for the Meltzer driver to the outside.
Oh, the outside one?
And then
bit of a botch. Little bit. Just a slip of the foot. And they had to kind of reset to do it. I think if it would have hit, it would have been much more spectacular than having to do the reset, but you can't fault that. I mean, that was like, they were 10, 15 minutes in the match at that point.
Well,
you're
and
tired.
like, for like a video package, they're going to start right as they're leaping off from the Spanish Fly. So.
Hey, and it gave Botchamania some stuff to throw on, like a little slip, like you guys got to, pump the content regardless of who you are. And then we got the finale, or the unsanctioned lights out match, which
lights out match.
Okay, I get it. You want to like work that angle that they're so violent. We can't even sanction this. Then why are the cameras on? Whatever. Yeah. I'm not even going to digress that far because it's still wrestling, and I get that part. So Moxley versus Janela, brutal match, brutal match. Should not have been the finale. It shouldn't have been, because it wasn't. I mean, the AEW, to a certain extent right now, is relying on, because what was everyone talking about the day after Fyter Fest? They're talking about the unprotected chair shot, and they're talking about how brutal the Janela Moxley fight, right?
Yep.
They weren't talking about how great Darby did, how great the Lucha Bros and the Bucks and that match was. They weren't talking about the wrestling. They were talking about the gimmicky stuff. You can only lean on this for a short window, and I don't want this to become your crutch, AEW. I don't, because I love you. Yeah. I was hooked. I watched Fyter Fest, and I was like, I looked at my friend who I was with, and I was like, WWE's in trouble. Yeah. Like, they're in real trouble. Whether they want to admit it, and I don't know, they might not be in trouble in the next year. It might be a few years down the line. But I also have questions on AEW, because we're in a honeymoon period with that company, right? Yes. They can do no wrong by most of the internet fans. Yeah. And that's not true. They're not killing it on all levels. Fyter Fest, I think, was a clear example of that. But going to buy rates, New Japan and WWE are so far ahead of them because they have their own streaming services. Both of them. Both those companies have their own streaming services. So you have a subscription that you pay minimal amount a month, right? Mm-hmm. Versus, what was Double or Nothing? 50?
50.
What's All Out going to be? 50?
Yeah. 50,
what's Fight for the Fallen? If Fight for the Fallen 50, there's no way.
I actually can't remember if Fight for the Fallen is actually going to... it might actually be free again.
That would be good. They should do that. So now here's my thing, though. They're going to be on TNT, and we've talked about this before on the show, is that you can't rely on a lot of this gimmick stuff once you get to TNT. Because even if they're in the 10 o'clock hour, the Moxley Janela match won't fly. Yeah.
Well, and I heard the idea of they would save these types of matches for the pay-per-views.
Here's my thing. They don't need them, though.
They don't need them.
They have the caliber of wrestlers. They don't need them. I'm liking Moxley better in New Japan right now, far better than I'm liking him in AEW. Okay. He came out once and had one match. So, I mean, there's a small sample size. Yeah. He fought Juice. He fought a young boy or a young lion. And then he's going to be in the G1. But, I mean, that's still just one match and and that's one match and so it's kind of apples to apples. Yeah. And I'm more enjoying the Moxley I'm getting in New Japan than I'm enjoying the Moxley in AEW. And that's just my personal opinion. That's your personal opinion. That's just my personal opinion. I'm sure there's other people that feel completely the opposite way, and I respect that. But just for my dollar, and that's why I talked about earlier, for AEW to succeed, it's not the heart of hardcore's dollar. You're going to get their dollar regardless because they watch everything so they can complain about it or say how much they love it, right? Mm-hmm. It's my dollar. It's the casual dollar.
Yep.
You don't become an actual legitimate threat unless you can pull in ratings, not for the first 6 months, but I'm talking a year from now.
Yeah.
What do their buy rates look like? What do their ratings look like on TNT? Because once the shine wears off, they need to rely on the wrestling that they have. And I think they're going to do that. I have the faith that they will, but I'm just saying for some people who are like, boo, WWE, yay, AEW. I'm like, let's just pump the brakes because we're not there yet. We're not even close to there yet.
Yeah.
Let's get there. Oh, did you hear the first Tuesday night show is going to fall in the same week that SmackDown flips to Fox?
Yeah, that's what I thought they were going to do the whole time.
They never said it. You're a smarter man than I. So, but they came out and said it this week, and I was like, bam.
I thought that was going to be the plan.
So now that I've kind of lamented, talk to me about Moxley and Janela and tell me why I'm wrong.
I really liked it.
I knew he was going to say that.
But I am a more like, Mick Foley stuff. So this is the level of hardcore that I'm okay with.
Yeah, okay.
Like, especially since, for the most part, Moxley missed every single one of the barbed wire boards.
That's true.
Like, he just sailed right past it, and it's barely hit it. Those boards were super flimsy.
And they weren't plywood. They were it was like a heavy duty cardboard.
Yeah, which is that when I saw them pull that out, I'm like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. You should have at least put an actual board under that, because that's just going to bend and not break, and then all the barbs are just going to go.
Maybe that was the point, though. Maybe that's what they wanted.
Worse.
Yeah, well, I know that.
Way worse.
Well, his elbow was just torn up. So I knew you'd love it. I knew you'd love it more than I did. And I'm not saying I hated that match. I thought, you should have seen me during it. I was like,
so why I say that's the level of hardcore that I'm okay with is, I watched another death match with a friend that later that night, and it was pretty much a no setup, anything. At least all the spots, there was setup and there was storytelling behind it, as opposed to just I'm gonna grab a light tube and boom.
See, I'll totally agree with what you just said too. There was setup, and then when you put it like that, I enjoyed it, like I said. But this is exactly why I love talking to you on this, because it's that's the yin and the yang. You know what I mean? I see it from one point of view, you see it from one point of view, but we can both, respect each other's points of view. Whereas and you help to help me see it from your side of it. Whereas you're right, that level, it could have been a lot further. Yeah. And I'm glad it wasn't. I'm glad they took it there, but not over the top. I don't want to see, they were telling a story on commentary about Janela getting beaten with light tubes and going into the hospital for 2 months on his own. And
he fell off. Yeah. I mean, there's the Zandig clip of him, and that's a level of hardcore I don't like.
Right.
Of him getting thrown off the roof. Zandig legitimately broke portions of his back.
Mick Foley, Undertaker, Hell in a Cell is one of my favorite matches of all time. I own the shirt. It's 21 years just past this past weekend of the anniversary. So I respect hardcore. I like hardcore. I like hardcore in the 90s. I mean, maybe it's I'm a little bit older. Maybe it's because I got a son. Maybe it's maybe it's I'm a different person. You know what I mean? But it was a good match. Fyter Fest, all in all, I'd say it was excellent. Yeah. I would say it was very excellent, but it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
And they definitely still have things to iron out. And maybe a little bit more checks and balances when it comes to VPs making decisions on their own. You know what I mean? And that's where I'll leave it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's go to WWE. WWE, man, you can tell that the move they made showed me that they know that they need to do something.
Yeah,
Vince saying, here you go, Bischoff, you're going to run SmackDown. Heyman, you're going to run Raw. And not a kayfabe, you're going to be the general manager and come out and make matches. We're talking creative control behind the scenes, and they only report directly to Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Yep. That I love because, and this is what I said, me and him had talked about it a little bit, a little bit through messaging and stuff like that. But what my point was, is of all men on this planet, These two men have already went at Vince. They will definitely say no to Vince. They will definitely argue with Vince to get things done. And they'll tell Vince if something's crap. You know what I mean? So I do trust these two individuals. Are they maybe a little past their peak? I guess that's to be determined. Yep. But I like the move. I like the move.
I like the move because, like, so it's been pretty well known that Paul Heyman, you know, obviously is the one behind most of the Brock Lesnar stuff. He's been very influential and helping a lot with Becky Lynch's stuff. And it's like, what's the stuff that's been working lately?
Right.
Those. So it's like, hopefully giving him more control doesn't dilute it. And like doesn't be like having him go, oh, I've got to do this and I've got to do this and I've got to do this. And also you do have in the Paul Heyman's case, you do have Vince McMahon being able to rein him in a little bit.
It works on both sides, right?
Yep, and it works on both sides because like Paul Heyman will push for what he wants. And if he is in the position, if it is true how much power he will get with this, he will push for what he wants to do. No worries about that. Until him and Vince finally have a flat out arguing, yelling
knockdown,
match.
drag out battle. That is for me. The Bischoff thing is more worrisome than the Heyman thing.
Yes,
But I want SmackDown to feel like a different show than Raw. I am so tired of them feeling like the same show.
Yes.
I want different stuff. And I think these two men will bring that to the table.
Yep. And what I heard, which is a good idea, and it's the one thing I do agree with the Bischoff signing, is he will be the one that is working and dealing with the Fox executives.
Yep.
Which I think that's a very smart move on their part, because you don't want to have Vince McMahon being the one dealing with the Fox executives all the time. Like if you need to be able to pull that card of like, oh, we're going to have Vince come to the meeting too, and then things will change. But yeah, a lot of it, like having Bischoff be the one to deal with it, because I mean he dealt with the Turner executives forever,
and they were idiots,
and
they were like, morons.
You saw him leaving that position, and then the Turner executives getting more and more power,
and then they sold the WWE.
Yeah,
so we all know how that story ends. Now does that start tonight? Tonight is Raw.
Is supposed to. They said they were going to slowly transition to that.
I will say, I didn't watch Raw for maybe a 2-3 week window, maybe after like our last video. And then I started watching the last 2 weeks because my fiance's been out of town, so I've been able to watch it. And I don't have, I have to watch it live because Hulu has this problem where if you record a WWE show, it disappears the next day, but it's still stuck in your DVR. Yeah, that's still a problem. It's it'll be interesting to see how slowly it transitions, or how how long this transition takes. But I'm excited for it. It'll be a good change of pace. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of the talent is excited for it. One thing I have liked over the past couple weeks, finally WWE talent is sticking up for themselves. Because it's just been everyone bashing on them, and like Moxley going on Jericho's podcast, and then like Ospreay getting into it with Rollins. I mean, Ospreay won. Ospreay won. I mean, hands down, Ospreay won. Hands down.
All right, if you've followed Will Ospreay on Twitter, the fact that he won a Twitter exchange is hilarious.
Right,
and he's an idiot.
Yeah, the little guy shirts and stuff. Yeah. He's solid. But I like that they're finally sticking up for himself. And then Seth came out and was like, took shots at Dean. Like, WWE made you. Jon Moxley, how big Jon Moxley is at this moment, he's not that big if there's no WWE. If he was not Dean Ambrose, he's not the Jon Moxley he is now. Yeah, there's no way he's got that name recognition.
Well, because I remember back, almost nearly a decade ago at this point is what it feels like when he was on the indies, and he had some buzz. Yeah. But it was nowhere near this level, and it's the fact that he is like the anti-WWE guy at this point, and I'm sure he's playing that up a little more at this point, but
bite the hand that feeds you type of thing. It's not a great look, It's not a great look.
No, it's not a great look, but it's like if you are, putting yourself out there as like this lone wolf and this like very anti-authority type character.
Well, and if he just does it this once and it's like he got out, now he says his piece and then he moves forward, respect it. If this is the trope that he bangs that drum continually going forward, it's gonna get stale and it's gonna be a detriment to the character inevitably.
It's like weirdly enough a similar comparison on a much smaller level. But when Simon Gotch got released, basically one of the first.
He still wrestle?
Yes, he does. He does still wrestle, but it's like all the interviews right after that, he talked crap about Enzo once, and then every single interview after that, people would bring it up and be like, "Oh, so what do you think?" And so
you mean a real one?
Yeah. So then after that, he just stopped doing interviews for a while.
I will say though, I shouldn't. I'm making those faces, but there you go. The Walgreens special. Enzo and Big Cass, the free agents. Are they in Ring of Honor, like officially? Is that a real thing?
I don't know.
I don't follow. I mean, I don't think. Do you watch Ring of Honor?
Once in a while.
Yeah,
not
me.
As often.
Not me. I'm not.
Apparently, Enzo, we can have our own problems with, but apparently
we'll do a whole separate video.
Apparently,
on Enzo.
Big Cass, like,
I feel bad for him.
A lot of his was actually dealing with like everybody kind of rallying against him. Towards the end was actually a lot to deal with like depression issues.
Yeah, that's why I said I feel bad for him.
And he's gotten the help that he needed and is doing better now, so that's good.
Okay, we went down a scary rabbit hole. Yeah. Let's get out of there. Stomping Ground happened.
Yeah, Stomping Ground happened.
What did I tell you before Stomping Ground? What feeling did I have?
You said you thought it was going to be like a better
show
than
it had any right to be, right? It was better than it had any right to be. I mean, disagree with me if you want. The Kofi Ziggler match, how he dove out the ropes to escape. I
liked that.
That was great.
I liked that spot. The match itself kind of was a little slow to me, but
I'll give you that.
But it's like okay, the end was cool.
Ricochet's your new U.S. champion.
Which is awesome. Then he got to face AJ in the next night.
Oh, yeah. Him versus AJ was so good.
Yeah.
They're building Shinsuke Knox versus Finn Balor for the Intercontinental.
Which I'm fine with.
They're moving towards directions that I'm A-okay with. Yep. You think the club might be getting back together a little bit?
Yeah, well, they did.
Did you hear about the Tokyo show?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because it was the club versus I don't even remember who they were facing.
Lucha House Party.
It was the club and Triple H versus
Lucha House Party.
Basically it was the four heels on Raw.
No, it's like Corbin, McIntyre,
Lashley, and
the one thing though, I cannot believe they had Shane O'Mac beat Roman Reigns. This is just insane, dude.
That was weird.
This is so insane. And now you got Roman and Taker versus Drew and Shane at Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to talk about we're not going to talk about Super Showdown, but you saw Goldberg.
I didn't even watch it.
You didn't see. So you didn't see Goldberg Undertaker?
No, I watched the end of the Battle Royal. That was it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I know, and that's like I don't like watching
just
bad
watch
wrestling.
It's so bad. It's so bad. Yeah. Like you almost have to just to be like, it does kind of decrease your love of like two icons slightly, because you're like, dude, just hang it up, bro. Like you're done. You ain't got it. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now. But Stomping Ground I thought was better than it had any right to be.
Yep.
Corbin still to me. Here's the problem, and you said this. I think you told me this 6 months ago.
Okay.
And it rings true to this very moment. Corbin and McIntyre should be switched spots on the card.
Yes.
Bottom line. Apparently Undertaker wants to work with Drew. Like he's like one of the dudes he wants to work with.
Yeah.
Like, and they want to, like, I want to see Drew McIntyre retire Taker. That would be all time for me. Because Corbin, maybe Corbin gets a little too much hate, but not really, because he is pretty awful and he doesn't deserve the spot he has. Neither does Shane, but he's a McMahon. But Corbin especially, I can't watch another Seth Rollins Corbin. I am so pissed that I have to watch Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins go against Lacey Evans and Corbin, probably the most two undeserving people to be in that spot. I'm sorry, they're both decent wrestlers, and I'm sure it'll be great over time. But at this present moment, I would much rather see Drew McIntyre and like an Alexa Bliss, or Drew McIntyre and Charlotte, even like, or Andrade and Charlotte versus that, like the couples versus the couples. There's give me a 17 different other matchups and I'd be happy with. Heck, give me an Uso and Naomi and I'd be like, hell yeah, let's do this. Corbin, Lacey, winner take all. Oh yeah, I wonder who's gonna come out on top. And
then part of you is like, oh dear God, I hope it's like, don't even like think about like changing those titles. Like, please don't.
Well, see, what I didn't think is gonna happen is Battle of Champions is going to be like, because remember how I've been saying for months they're going to consolidate the champions. They're going to consolidate the champions. The wild card rule is going to have to either go away, especially with Heyman and Bischoff taking over. Here's the thing: you either have to make it just one roster and they're just used differently, and they have to have different storylines on their different shows, but anybody could show up, or you have two separate rosters.
Yeah.
I don't know which way they're going to go. I keep speculating that they're going to combine the belts, because even somebody else that I was listening to a podcast or doing something, they said they saw all the WWE belts laid out and they're like, yeah, that is too many belts. Yeah. You have too many tag team belts. You have too many women's belts. You just need one for everybody. Cruiser 24, Intercontinental, US, women's, men's, women's tag, men's tag. That's still 8 belts.
Yeah.
Now you have to add like 4 more belts. We're up to like 12 belts, 13 belts. It's too many. So should we go into New Japan?
Yeah, let's go into
the
New
best
Japan.
thing going right now.
Well, other than I do want to point out, like, just speaking of the 24/7, I did love R-Truth's really stupid joke.
He's 8-time. 8-time.
But the because he cut off Drake Maverick at the wedding and everything. And Drake, the promo between the two of them of, I never even got to consummate the marriage. You should eat more fiber. What? You consummate.
I'm glad you brought that up. The 24/7 stuff has been working for me.
It's been really fun.
The online videos, the Drake Maverick stuff, the EC3 and Drake Maverick stuff. This has all been working so well for me. And if Heyman or Bischoff can identify that and magnify that and bring it just a little bit more onto TV, and instead of having these long drawn out promos, throw me a little bit of that flavor in there as like filler spots, I'm not going to cancel my subscription anyway, but just take my money. You know what I mean? Like, just take my money.
It's like now with the new edict of like, we don't want any action happening during the commercials. Have a couple short 24/7 matches like throughout a 3-hour Raw.
Instead of doing 6 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah.
The next match is going to be 2 out of 3 falls. And followed by that, it'll be another 2 out of 3 falls. And then for the Finale tonight is going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Like, have we become CMLL and everything's a 2 out of 3 falls match?
Yeah. I don't know about that. And that's what I'll be curious to see if that's one of the things that goes away, or they find a better workaround with these different guys in charge, and then it depends on the people that they surround themselves with.
Yep.
And then what you were going back to saying earlier is not only will they'll control Vince to a certain extent, Vince will control them to a certain extent. You'll get compromise. Yep. I think sometimes you get the best product when you have geniuses who have to compromise to a certain extent. Look at like Spielberg, Lucas, when they were great and they were younger, they had to make compromises with studios and with effects and stuff, and it made them be better. And I think that's hopefully what we're gonna get out of this.
Yep.
Let's move on.
But yeah, New Japan.
New Japan, best thing going. Honestly, I can't believe that I literally just became a New Japan fan in when was Wrestle Kingdom the last one? January, yeah. I became a New Japan fan in January, and now I'm trying to get a Los Gobles de Japan. I can't say that right.
Los Ingobernables.
Thank you. I'm trying to get that shirt. I'm still looking for some more. I want Naito is literally like, I was doing this the other day. I can't stop myself. They have so much good stuff going. They got the G1 right around the corner. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we're gonna preview.
Okay. Breathe, Thor.
Yeah, so we're gonna go in order though, right?
Backwards order?
Well, not backwards order, but we're gonna start with the finale of
Okay, so you want to go in order then?
Yeah.
So I was going to go Dominion backwards. Okay, let's start with Best of the Super Juniors final.
Well, because
You're right.
We gotta talk about the final before.
Well, we've been going backwards the whole time. Now you're switching up. Now we're going forward. That's going to throw my brain off. Okay, so we'll go forward from Best of the Super Juniors final. Was spectacular. The last two matches were amazing.
It's like the finals of Best Super Juniors, Shingo Takagi versus Will Ospreay.
It's our match of the year right now.
Yeah,
right?
It's my match of the year.
It's his separate. We were at an event unrelated doing stuff for the Saber Legion, and we ran into each other because that's how we met. Yeah. And we both were like, dude, that Shingo Will Ospreay. And I'm like, that's my match of the year. And he goes, that's my. He pulls out his phone and goes, look at my new updated match. And I was like, God, geniuses. But that, and then the Juice Robinson versus John Moxley match. I love that. It was super brutal. It was as brutal as the Janela match, but in a different way.
Yeah.
The brutality was different because it was more like, instead of being like, barbed wire and chairs and props, it was them just hitting each other.
Yeah, it was just
violent,
just hard hitting, and like guttural.
Well, what else was on that show that was really good? There were a couple 6-man tags with like other Best of the Super Juniors. I'm trying to think too.
Well, one of the that was on Dominion.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I'm like, Shingo didn't have 2 matches.
I haven't watched any of the stuff. They just did some stuff from Australia.
Yep, they just did stuff with Australia.
I haven't watched it yet, so we won't talk about it.
Well, and I'll do a little setup for the Australia shows because it's Will Ospreay versus Robbie Eagles, and it's their fourth singles match against each other. The first 2. Actually tied in because they were in PWA is the promotion that Ospreay went down to Australia for. Okay. He faced Robbie Eagles. It's like Call to Arms, I believe, is the show title. It's on YouTube for free.
Check it out. I'll be watching it later tonight because I'm gonna make him write it down after he leaves.
Yep.
Before he leaves, I mean.
Because that was their first match. Ospreay won that.
Okay.
Their second match. And why I'm bringing this up is it all actually becomes New Japan canon. And it's really weird.
So crazy.
So their second match, Robbie Eagles beats Ospreay. Ospreay, he's got all the flags and stuff on his trunks. He pulls off the Japanese flag, hands it to Robbie Eagles, basically saying like, "Come to Japan. You deserve to come to Japan, and I will do what I can to get you here." And then Robbie Eagles comes over and joins Bullet Club. And it's like, what? And during their Best Super Juniors match, it opens up with Robbie Eagles handing the flag over to Will Ospreay. So it's like, those PWA matches, those exist now in New Japan.
That's crazy.
And then now they're having, and then...
Do you know what happened?
I do.
Okay, me too. Okay. Yeah. So should we just?
Yeah, we can just say it.
So Eagles turned on Bullet Club and joined Chaos.
Yep, which is perfect because like Ospreay is so clearly good. He's the top junior, but they needed another junior for him to tag with and stuff like that. Other than Show and Yo.
Oh, them in the tag world, whatever the tag team tournament. Well, and or
I wouldn't be surprised if Robbie Eagles is available if Eagles is Ospreay's partner on those off nights of the G1.
Oh yeah, that too.
Which would be cool.
That too.
But yeah, it's like so. Shingo versus Ospreay was friggin' fantastic.
Shingo Ospreay was amazing. It's got the flips. But it's also got just the strikes. There's just they have different styles, but they meshed so well into this beautiful tapestry of brutality and aerial combat, and just watch it. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Ospreay had to pull out moves that, like he did the top rope version of the Os Cutter.
Yep.
He had to pull out the Stormbreaker, had to pull off the Hidden Blade. Shingo pulls off for the first time in New Japan, pulls off the Made in Japan, which is the not as elevated version of the Last Dragon. Which was very smart because that means nobody's kicked out of the Last Dragon yet.
That's how they got around that.
Yeah, because like the Last Dragon's on the shoulders, the Made in Japan, he just dumps him.
Okay.
So he hits the Made in Japan, which was the first time he's hit it in New Japan, and Ospreay kicks out of that.
Wow.
But nobody's kicked out of the Last Dragon yet. Wow.
So then Dominion was like 3 nights after, right?
Yeah.
Unreal. When I talk about the speed and the ferocity that New Japan pumps stuff out with, it's no joke, people. It is no joke. Yeah. So Dominion comes the next night. You got Okada versus Jericho, which was a good match.
Which is good. Yep.
Not the match of the that everyone was talking about. That was the Naito Ibushi match.
Yeah,
which
Naito
was
Ibushi.
uncomfortable.
Them just trying to drop each other on their heads as often.
Well, you heard Kota Ibushi lost vision in one of his eyes for like a couple days.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And like one of his eyes went blind for a couple days. They're worried that he wasn't actually going to compete in the G1 because he lost vision in one of his eyes. But it came back and he was fine.
Yeah.
Because I mean he's unhuman. And Naito's crazy because he won that belt and then he just hated it again. But then he was still like leaving that match, jumping like the way he gets out of the ring and he throws his legs up to come down. He still did that after the match.
Yeah.
And then when he got done, he stepped on Koto's head and held up the title. And this dude's just poor neck is like just folded in. And I was just like, oh man, that was awful. But I think for me, Will Ospreay stole it. Him and Dragon Lee, dude. That was so close. I mean, you're like, oh, him and Shingo, there's no way this Dragon Lee match is going to be whatever. He'll beat Dragon. It'll be probably a snooze fest. Won't be nothing compared to that. It was, I mean, if here's Shingo, Will Ospreay, then here's Dragon Lee, Will Ospreay. Because they hit everything that they went for, they hit perfectly. Mm-hmm. It was executed flawlessly. Yeah. And that's like, for the things that they were pulling off, holy man. Holy. What did you think of Dominion?
It was great. And like then we got the joke online after was like, and he's declaring for the G1 and he's declaring for the G1. Cause like you open it up with Moxley beating the crap out of Shota Umino.
Yeah, Young Lion.
And then basically kidnapping him.
The backstage segment? Yes. You
can drive, right, kid?
Tell him oh man. So he had him backstage and he's like holding him and the kid just looks just uncomfortable and Mox is like just doing Mox stuff. Yeah. Oh, it was so good.
It's so good.
That's on YouTube.
That's on YouTube. You can go watch that. And then Shingo Takagi beats Satoshi Kojima, which a couple people online is like, okay, Shingo is looking at himself in 10 years. It was like, that's really accurate, because if you watch a Kojima match from 10 years ago, it's Shingo.
And then was it Guerrillas of Destiny versus Sonata and Evil?
Sonata and Evil.
And there looks like they might be maybe splitting up Sonata and Evil.
Yeah, which like
there's a little thing after the match.
They always keep teasing that, like basically
Sonata's gonna be a giant single star at some point.
Every single G1. One of the members of Los Ingobernables will not do the fist bump.
Really?
Yeah.
Someone's just salty?
Yeah. It's like somebody's always salty, like right before the G1. And then after the G1, they're fine.
I just love the way that New Japan tells their stories and like in the kind of the way that they're operating. They had their most successful year last year. And one of the things I said, I think somebody online, was I think the one thing that they've proved in the last 6 months, I think to everybody, is that they don't need the elite. Like they're okay without Bucks and Omega and Cody. Like they're good.
Yeah, it's like it's been so interesting watching New Japan for like these last couple years, because basically they have such a deep roster that like everybody was in panic mode. Like WWE signed AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Carl Anderson, and Doc Gallows all at once. Like, what's New Japan gonna do? Elevate Kenny Omega?
Push Gorillas?
Push the Gorillas? Push the Bucks more? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then it's like, oh, those guys are gone. Who's the guy to step up? Will Ospreay.
Showing yo.
You
know, like it is crazy. You're right. It is crazy how they just they just replace talent. They just keep replacing talent with great talent, and they're cultivating talent. I mean, Jay White beat Tanahashi at Dominion with the sweet goatee. Just a dude. If there was ever I want to see a evil Jay White and like a good Jay White. And good Jay White shaven, but evil Jay White has the goatee. But it's kind of like a running gag where they're really the same person.
Yeah,
because it's like you ever seen the old Woody Woodpecker cartoons? One of the evil guys had like a goatee stash thing. Jay White looks like that dude. Yeah. It's amazing. It's terrifying, but it's amazing.
It's like almost like a Guy Fawkes mask kind of. Yeah,
it's creepy.
Yeah,
but it's like evilish. And then it's still kind of like he's still handsome. I don't know. I like Jay White. I like Jay White. I think. See, I didn't have the hatred for Jay White because I came into it so late that I was like, this Jay White dude's cool. Mm-hmm. And then I kept seeing all this stuff. Jay White's trash. Oh, I hate that guy. And I was like, I really enjoy his stuff. I mean, I guess I could come to it from a different perspective because I wasn't so like, Bucks, Omega, blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's like you missed I think where a lot of people got salty with him last year was he was trying. During the G1 last year, trying so much to get over the dastardly heel character that he was cheating in every match. So his matches weren't as good in the G1, and knowing even when he was a young lion, knowing it's you're better than this,
right?
Everybody, that's when people were really turning against him, and I'm like, no, he's just putting over his he's just doing character stuff. It's kind of annoying that he's doing character stuff, Fale's doing character stuff, and then you've got Toru Yano, I think, all in the same block.
Ugh.
And it's okay, yeah. half the... And
is
then
he in the G1?
Jay White is, yes.
Well, because I wrote down a bunch of matches I'm looking forward to. I actually didn't put a Jay White match on there. And not that there's one I'm not looking forward to. It's just there's so many other ones that I'm looking forward to in that. G1 starts July 12th, I want to say? 6th.
5th. Actually, yeah.
This week.
Yep.
This week.
That's
the G1 starts this week.
Yep. That's why I was like, we should do the preview.
Oh my god.
Well, because the weird thing is the Dallas show, because that was pretty much all for Dominion, correct?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that's good. We're good.
So so the Dallas show is July 5th.
Okay.
And then the rest of the tournament doesn't start until the 13th, I believe, because they've got to fly back to Japan.
Right. The travel and
stuff. Don't want everybody to be jet-lagged.
So you got Block A is going to be Okada. You got Tanahashi. You got Evil and Sonata in the same block. Bad Luck Fale.
Which is
Lance
also why they're
Archer. Will Ospreay. Kenta. We forgot to mention Kenta returning at Dominion. Kenta's back.
With his best friend Shibata.
That was crazy. I've never seen Shibata. I need to go back and watch some Shibata matches.
Need to go back and
I know. I've been told. And then Block B, you got Naito, John Moxley. You got, was Moxley in the other one?
No, Moxley's
in B block. You got Jeff Cobb, Jay White, Kota Ibushi is in A block. Sorry, I forgot about that. Toru Yano's in B block. And then Zack Sabre Jr. He's in A block. So I mean, you got all the big names, the big names, and it's another round robin tournament, just like the best of the Super Juniors, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's 19 nights, I think it was.
Only 19 nights. Oh, it's light.
No. 17.
Jeez, 17 nights of amazing wrestling ahead of us, starting on July the 5th.
Yep.
Oh man! All right, so let's break it down for me. What you looking forward to? Who you got?
So the main event of night one is Okada versus Tanahashi, and that is for the first time on American soil.
Okay.
Which basically since they started doing the shows in the U.S., me and a bunch of other people online have been saying, we want to do an Okada Tanahashi match here. For the love of God. We want it. We've never gotten to see it. Japan has gotten it.
They've gotten so many times.
Well, the G1 last year when they were in Budokan Hall, they were the A block night.
Okay.
It sold 6,000 tickets.
Wow.
Night 2 was Omega versus Ibushi. That sold 10. So that kind of it's been a diminishing returns a little bit with Okada and Tanahashi. It's like, we've seen this. Right. It's probably going to go to a half-hour time limit draw. We know. Whereas, so, like, the Japanese fans aren't as excited about that match. Like, there's, still 6,000 people wanted to see it.
Still Ace versus the Rainmaker.
But, yeah, it's like, they know it's going to be really good. But they're like, we've seen it a bunch. Whereas US fans, like, we've never seen this live. That's cool. Like, this is literally the rivalry that, like, built up New Japan for me. So I'm like, oh, man, that's awesome. And then right underneath it, you have Kota Ibushi versus Kenta.
Yeah, Kota Ibushi like, Kenta. That's night one's gonna be bananas. Some of the other ones, you got Ospreay versus Sonata going down the road at some point. Moxley versus Shingo Takagi. Naito versus Moxley. Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr. at times. Everybody will fight everybody. There'll be a bunch of 6-man tags. There'll be a bunch of craziness.
We get the knife guys fighting because we get Switchblades versus
Mox.
Moxley.
That's gonna be a good match. Oh, that's going to be a good match.
And then, like, the tour ends. So the B Block Budokan Hall show is ending with Jay White versus Naito. Is supposedly, like, the last two nights, it always, like, they say, here's the matches. We don't know the order yet because it'll depend what they're doing in the standings, blah, blah, blah. But most likely it's going to be Naito versus Jay White as the final, and as the main for B Block. Yep. And then right underneath that is Juice Robinson versus Moxley in their rematch.
And you think that'll be? Well, wait, that's B Block too, right?
Yeah, that's B Block. Okay. I think that's
so
the
you got Naito coming out of B Block.
I got Naito coming out of B Block. A Block, I don't know. I am still very, very conflicted.
Pick somebody.
Kota Ibushi.
Oh, okay.
Which, like, I worry that it's like we've seen that match too often.
So I don't think they're gonna do Ibushi Naito again.
Yeah, and that's my only worry picking, because, like, you don't do Okada because
he's the champ, right?
He's the champ, but I think Okada loses to Zack Sabre Jr.
Okay.
And he loses.
If the champ win, quick question: do they just pick their own opponent? Because the winner of the G1 Climax gets a title shot for the big belt at Wrestle Kingdom, which will be 2 days this year. If the champ wins, correct me if I'm wrong, he gets to choose his opponent for Wrestle Kingdom.
Or because it's never happened since that's been a stipulation that this scenario has never happened.
Then that's what's going to happen.
But usually anytime, because you don't get a best of Super Juniors situation with, like, Shingo this year of somebody going undefeated throughout the whole tournament. Usually, even the champion will lose because everything's non-title during the G1.
Right.
But
if you get pinned, don't you normally get a title shot then if you beat a champion?
Exactly. So, like, if a Kota Ibushi pins, Okada, he'll get a title shot probably at
Road somewhere.
King of Pro Wrestling, which is in October.
Okay, I got Naito coming out at B Block. I'm with you on that. Oh, over Jay White? Yeah, okay. I got Naito coming out because they're really pushing that 2-belt thing.
Yep.
I'm going to go bold move. Sonata coming out of A Blocks.
That wouldn't
Naito Sonata is the finale. Naito wins. That's what I'm calling.
Yeah, well, because that's another match that we didn't point out that is happening, and I think it's happening in Osaka. Naito versus Shingo.
Oh, dang you!
And it's which, like,
I put Moxley versus Dragon. You're right. And Naito versus Shingo.
Yep. But either, like, the B Block, like, isn't as stacked, but it is. There are some fun matches.
Could Kenta be a super dark horse and win it from A Block?
I'm thinking that, like, because I think he.
So then you got Kenta versus Naito for the final. I don't care what it is. It's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
I am so much looking forward to this. I've just become the smarkiest New Japan fan in the last 6 months.
So I think Okada loses to either Ibushi or Kenta to do King of Pro Wrestling. He might lose to both of them because they also have Destruction or
Sonata took him to the limit though.
Sonata took him to the limit. Sonata, you could maybe do a draw, or something, but
okay, I'm sticking with mine. Naito Sonata. Naito comes out on top overall.
Yeah,
Who do you got?
I'm thinking Naito comes out
versus
all the way. Versus Ibushi.
Naito Ibushi. Naito wins again.
Yep.
Okay, that's it.
Because it's Kota Ibushi. He doesn't need
he's the golden boy.
To win,
And they have a lifetime contract with him, so they can do whatever they want for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
I think this is Naito's time. 2 belts, I think, is in his horizon. I can see them wanting to do that. Although now that you said that the champions never won, that scares me because they can have the Rainmaker do whatever. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun. This is gonna be so much fun.
The fact that it's 2 nights too this year,
Wrestle Kingdom he's talking about in January.
Yep, in January. The fact that you could, say Naito doesn't win the G1 itself and somebody else wins, you can have Naito headline night 1 and then have whoever actually wins the G1 headline night 2 against Okada.
And Naito could get 2 belts by getting the US. No, that's not going to happen. So
Juice is getting the US back.
next time we'll be back. We'll probably be after the G1's over. Yeah. After Fight for the Fallen. Probably not after All Out. Probably before All Out.
Because we got 3 shows to preview.
But it will probably be after SummerSlam.
Oh yeah.
I think we hold off. I think we'll come back. We'll do our next show. We'll do G1
recap.
We'll do G1 Fight for the Fallen, and we can do SummerSlam, and then we'll preview All Out.
Yeah. Well, because we can preview all. So there are 3 shows happening on August 31st.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because there's NXT Takeover NXT UK Takeover Cardiff.
Yep.
Which is happening at the same time as New Japan is in not Royal Albert Hall, but I think Manchester someplace.
Yeah, they're over there.
They're in the UK too, which is weird that those are, and then All Out.
Yeah, and then All Out. Well, did you hear WWE's showing on the network the same night of Fight for the Fallen?
I was gonna point that out too. It's they're showing the Evolve 10th anniversary. It is not the 10th anniversary of Evolve.
It's going to be the first time an indie promotion has gotten a show on the network.
Yep.
And they're running it the same night as Fight for the Fallen. They broke Omega with that one. Omega came out on Twitter and fired shots, and then deleted it because he felt bad. Yep. I respect Omega a lot, actually. Yeah. I respect a lot of those guys. I respect everybody in the wrestling business, actually. I mean, just because I get fired up or I take shots, don't mean I don't have respect for people or enjoy everything that's going on. That's what I love about this time, and that's what makes me so happy. Is I'm not picking and choosing I'm going to watch this and not watch this. Give me it all. I'm at the buffet just shoveling wrestling into my face.
I love a lot of people's reactions to that is oh cool, I can actually finally watch an Evolve show.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that. I was I've heard about Evolve a ton, but I've never seen any other stuff.
And it's going to be headlined by Matt Riddle versus Drew Gulak.
Yes, please.
Which is, it's okay.
Nice thing is, guess what? That's on demand. So if I want to go back and whatever's live that I can't watch later, I'll probably watch live, and then I'll just go and watch that on the network.
Yep. That's
the beauty of having the streaming services.
Yeah, that's the other thing of okay, I'll watch Fight for the Fallen on BR Live, and then watch the replay of Evolve later.
Well, and if it's in England, they won't even be on at technically the same time. It'll be the same day.
Oh yeah, on the 31st.
Cardiff will show on the network earlier in the day.
Yep, it'll show earlier.
Fight for the Fallen will be later at night, so there'll actually be no direct competition. They won't be running at the same time.
And New Japan might be
the New Japan.
New Japan might be on a slight delay anyway.
Oh wait, they're both in England, so those would be at the same time.
They're both in England, but New Japan might be a slight delay because Fight TV is doing the production for that one. And so what they might do is like it won't air on New Japan World Live. It will be basically they'll show it live and then upload it as soon as the show's done. Over. Which is going to be great.
I'll catch it on the replay. All right. Yep. Well, we're out of here. Kyle, thank you for joining me. Thor, Basement by Banter. Kyle Olsen, Knockdown Entertainment. Wrestling in the Basement, the show. Basement by Banter is a channel. Like, share, subscribe, do the things and the places. Deuces. Wrestling.